We are live, hopefully, coming from our living room here at Christ Center Ironworks. So, welcome everyone to this Friday night live stream here at Christ Center Ironworks. We're doing a bit of Quadstate prep right now. One of the things that I am working on is this grill. Now, I don't know if I'll be able to take this to Quadstate. For those of you who are just joining us who don't know what Quadstate is a yearly blacksmithing gathering that's been going on for almost 50 years now. I believe it's coming up on a 50th Quad State's coming up or something like that.
I think they had it already because remember they did that really big ornate sign.
Oh yeah,
multiple people worked
on. Yeah. So it's been quite a while. But anyways, it's a blacksmith gathering that happens every year at the end of September or the fourth weekend of September at the Troy Fairgrounds down in Dayton, Ohio, and it is put on and hosted by SOFA or Southern Ohio Forge and Anvil. It's actually their event. And we'll be attending this year with all of our blanks and a lot of extra tooling I've got and presses and, a press and some manual ironwork and all sorts of other stuff's loaded up on the trailer. But at Quadstate, they have a gallery space where you can exhibit your work. And they've got it for novices and professionals alike. And they've got, usually every year they have some sort of theme. Well, long story short, this is the thing I am taking. This is what I want to take to Quadstate this year for the traditional ironwork category. But unfortunately, this is not finished. So this has all been hand forged by yours truly with traditional techniques. And I have got the whole thing painted. I got my base coat of paint. But it needs to be gilded now. So the type of gilding I'm going for is very much similar to this door knocker that I've made. Some of you guys have seen this making its rounds on YouTube and Instagram and all over the place. Do you want to get in on this?
Mm-hmm.
So, this is a nice door knocker, a decorative door knocker that I made. This is a French Baroque style door knocker. Did a whole video on this, and Jessica's reposted it a whole bunch of different times. But it's a real nice door knocker that I made. But this is kind of what we're going for here. Now, this door knocker has had 24 karat gold leaf. You okay?
Yeah.
You good?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. This door knocker has had 24 karat gold leaf applied to it, or has been gilded in 24 karat gold, as you would say. And then the actual collar that you see here on the front has been gilded in silver leaf as well. So this was a pretty exciting project. I was really liked how this came out, and I like how striking it was. So this is a similar effect. This is kind of the effect I'm going for my grill here, if you will. So that's what we are after. I get asked every live stream. I get asked every time I do any sort of gilding or things, where do you go to take and get your gilding stuff? Where do you get your things? There's two places that I have bought my gilding supplies at. I've bought through Rio Grande, not a sponsor of the channel, but I've bought through Rio Grande. They do all sorts of precious metals and silvers and golds, and you can buy, heck, you can even buy a mokume on there, and you name it. For doing jewelry work. That's mainly their thing. But they do sell gold leaf on their site. And then I also get it through Amazon. So Jessica has some affiliate links down in the description if anybody wants to get into gilding. I have the affiliate links for the stuff that I am actively using here on this project and on this process. So this right here is a 24 karat gold leaf pack. On the back, so it's 80 millimeters by 80 millimeters, which is roughly, it's like a 3 1/4 by 3 1/4 inch square ish, right around there, of gold. And there's only 25 of those little sheets in here, and those sheets are really super thin, powdery thin gold that you apply to the surface of these. Prices have went up quite a bit, but this little book here costs $93 just for one of these. So it is kind of expensive to get into gold leaf. They do have imitation gold leaf out there that you can get, which is made with brass. Here's an older 24 karat gold leaf book. They also have silver leaf. So this is Barnabas Blatt Gold. So it's finest gold in silver leaf. So that's been the manufacturer that I've been found that is reliable and is actual gold leaf. There are some imitation brands out there that they say they're gold leaf and they're not. When you look a little further into their details, it's imitation gold leaf, which is just brass essentially. So be on the lookout for that. But I'm going to be using 24 karat gold leaf on the gilding of the scrolls here. And I'll be using silver leaf, which I believe is sterling silver. It's like a sterling silver leaf. And that's what I'll be using for the collars themselves. But one of the things that I'll be working on tonight with what we will be messing with tonight. We won't actually be doing any leaf work tonight because, well, that just takes forever. And I have to apply a base coat first. Now, I'm fairly new to the gilding process. It's something I want to incorporate a lot more in my work. And so I'm going to be using the SEP Gilding Workshop yellow gilding primer. So that's the one thing I'm going to be using. Now, this is new to me. We got this. I opened it up, and just actually before the stream here, some stuff had solidified at the top, and I'm hoping that that's not the liquid hardener that was solidified at the top of the can. If it is a hardener that's solidified at the top of the can, and then this will stay gooey and it won't ever dry. You know, it'll always have a tackiness to it, which we don't want. So I don't know if it's just my can that they had a problem with that, but I do want to take and put that out there. I imagine it is. If it was like it got a little air, the lid didn't get perfectly sealed, it will dry out that top layer. So it did that on me. We did another test piece earlier and it seemed like it came out all right. But we're going to use this yellow gilding primer before we put on our quick dry gilding size. So the quick dry gilding size, it gets to a tackiness, almost like an adhesive, like a glue that the leaf actually sticks to. It does that within about an hour to 3 hours. It just depends on the time. It depends on the weather, basically. The temperature you're gilding at and the humidity, basically, is when it reaches that tack. But basically, when this reaches the certain amount of tack where it just lifts your arm hair off your skin, when you touch it to the surface of it, that's the correct amount of tack to go ahead and start applying your gold leaf. So that takes a long time to get to that step. So this takes a while. This whole process is going to take a while. But the reason why we're going to do this base primer is because it's yellow. It has a yellow tone to it. And pull this up. So it has this type of yellow golden tone to it. Never mind the whatever glue stick thing, whatever that is. But it has this golden tone to it. And what that does is that helps hide hollandaise. So the hollandaise... Holidays. No, I think it's holidays. Oh. I've said it right. So, okay. But anyways, so what that is in the surface of the gold leaf here. And again, I did this before I did additional research to figure this out. But in the surfaces of the gold leaf, if the gold leaf is a little tore, or if it's not quite perfect, or if it got a little fleck somewhere, you get these little black things. You get the base coat of the paint that's on the steel kind of coming up through or showing through the gold leaf, and it looks like a little black spot, or it might look like a little black line if it was like a little slice in the gold leaf or something like that. And I guess they call that holidays or hollandaise, I believe it is what
hollandaise
is it hollandaise or holidays?
Hollandaise is the type of mayonnaise, I think.
I know, that's why I said it was weird.
Okay, so holidays as in
I think it's holidays. Yeah,
like
but it's spelt like hollandaise. It's a weird spelling on it, I know. But anyways, so if you can stop making me get off track, my dear.
Yeah, sorry.
So anyways, yeah, so it leaves these little black speckles, or you might have something like that, and then you got to go back over it and try to layer up the gold leaf. And you know, at $100 a book, that can get kind of expensive. So what we're going to be playing with tonight is we're going to be trying to get this on here, make it out, get this golden looking paint on there first. That will help hide some of that black from underneath. So that way, if there is any of that, it'll give a much more uniform finish to the gold leaf itself once we get to it. So there you go. That's the long and short of it. If you're watching this on the replay, now you know what you can expect for the next probably 2.5, 3 hours. That and good conversation as we go along. So, there we go. And questions, Jessica.
All right. Let's see here. Possum Sausage says, I'm going to try to make it to Quadstate. I have a lesson I'll be giving Friday before and selling a forge to the kid I'm teaching, so I will have plenty for entry and spending.
Awesome. Well, hope to see you there, brother.
Ken Foster says, I've been working on making a knife for my dad, and I got to say I drastically underestimated how much time the fit and setup takes.
Oh, it takes a while. Especially if you're not used to it. Well, guess I'm going to start here at the left-hand side one here. So much like on my door knocker, the surfaces that I am the most focused on gilding, and this one's going to be a bit more difficult. And I know this right from the get-go that this was going to be a difficult thing, item to gild. If I can even gild it, I don't know yet. You know, it just might not be worth the time that's involved. But one of the things that I focus on in my work, my ironwork, is I try to bring as much pop as possible. So I want people to see this work and just be like, whoa. And so I'm only really focused on getting my gilding, my gold leaf on the front side and the viewable sides of this piece. And then I want to leave the black backdrop behind. Just like on this other one, I only gilded the surfaces that need to catch light. Much like whenever you do brass brushing of a piece, you're trying to show off the highlights of that piece. And so that's really what I'm focusing on. I'm trying to get the surfaces of this piece to look good. That's really what I'm after. I want all the surfaces that should be highlighted to be highlighted. And the ones that are going to be hidden, I want them to be black. And that will give that contrast. It'll give the whole piece pop, so to speak. So, questions, Jess?
Yes. Bar Run Forge says, good job, regular Roy. From T. Roy.
Why, thank you, T. Roy.
Roger Caldwell says, doesn't gilding take quite a bit of time?
It does. It's kind of one of those things that there's a big payoff if you stick with it. There's a big payoff at the end, you know? You have to just kind of... You have to kind of think through the process. Think of what you want to have accomplished. And then, like I said, there's just a big payoff at the end. So, you know, you're willing to put the time in on things that matter the most to you. It's going to come out looking really, really well. But as you can see, I've got this little brush. It's going to take me an eternity. Like, I got almost one scroll down. And I got a bunch more to go, so.
Ken Foster says, will you clear coat after?
Yes. So it is recommended that you put a clear glaze or do a clear coat of some kind. That has been what I've read and researched. That's what is recommended. Is after you gild the surface with gold, is that you protect that gold leaf. Again, that gold leaf is very, very thin. It is recommended that you then come in later and you clear coat over it to protect that gold leaf. So...
3B's Forge and Homestead said, when I painted houses with my dad back in the day, he called them holidays because you took a holiday and you missed a spot.
Well, there you go. Holidays.
Possum Sausage says, Roy's using his wrong hand to paint.
I'm using the only right hand that matters, buddy.
Debaka says, so I shouldn't gild my toilet spoon?
Gild it if you want, buddy. Live life. Life's too short to be basic.
Jeff Killian said, my Jeff Killian says, my dad always said Rome wasn't built in a day.
That's right.
Keith says, how much time do you have working with the glue base, and how much area can you prep and let dry before laying down the gold leaf?
So I made the mistake. That's a really great question. So I made the mistake on the gilding size when I did the door knocker. I made the mistake of coating all surfaces that were going to be gilded all at once. So I put the gilding size all over, and so it was all tacky at the same time. It all had the right amount of tack to it. So it all had the right kind of tack to the piece. But here's the problem. I'm slow at gilding. So what that means is the piece dried out and was at the wrong tack by the time I got to parts of doing that door knocker. So I ended up having to put on more gilding size and wait even longer. So I would say that, on something like this, all right, I'm going to do half. Then I'm going to do half. This is what takes so long. So like when I say, I've got 40 hours of gilding, it's not that the gilding, putting the metal on there, putting the gold on there takes that long. It's just I will have, like, this one I'll start gilding. Once it's gilded, then I'll come over here and I'll do this half and I'll gild it. Because if you think about it, it's just, one of these halves is just like one half of this. And so from experience now I know that I only want to put the gilding size on one half of this, get this half gilded, wait till that's all dry and gilded, then go ahead and paint the gilding size on this, wait the 1 to 3 hours that's necessary for it to have the right amount of tack, and then gild that half. So you can tell, right? 3, at maximum, you're talking 3, 6, 9, 12, whatever that is. 15, 18, 24, 20, 22,
21,
25.
24, 27.
Yeah, whatever Jessica said. I can't count that high. I can't count that high. So, but anyways, so you can tell it takes up a lot of time. So if you figure, it's going to take an hour, let's count by ones. Roy can do that. Never do math on camera, folks. Never do math on camera. Even at basic counting. So even if you count that per half, right? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18. So I got 18 hours just at an hour. If it took 1 hour for it to reach tackiness, I have 18 hours of gilding to do. So it will be a multi-day process just by nature.
Ken Foster says, this looks like a good project towards the end of an evening and just work a little bit at a time, or a long winter project.
Yep, that's kind of a perfect way of looking at it, yeah. You don't want to be doing this in a rush. And I was actually worried, I was personally worried on whether, and this is why I said I don't know if I'll have this done in time for Quadstate or not, because you just can't rush the process. And I have so many other things I have got to get ready for Quad that I've been working on, actively working on. So it's not like I've been schluffing off. That to do this and do the process right, it takes the time that it takes. You can't rush through this. You throw on a nice audio drama or a podcast, right? And then just get after it, right? You just take your time. But there is no rushing it. You're not going to come in here and, rush through this process.
John Brunel says he has his socks on. Over 10 is stressful for him.
What's that?
You have your socks on, and over 10 is stressful for you.
Yeah. Thanks, John.
Roger.
I would like to say I appreciate you, buddy. Keyword like to.
Like to.
What'd you say?
Roger Caldwell says then you're looking at 50 hours of gilding.
Yep. Again, my estimation, 40 to 50 hours. Probably about 40 hours. That was my assumption, is it would take me about 40 hours of guild work to do this for what I have in my head.
Ken Foster says you need some slow music playing to make the time pass.
Yep. I actually like listen. I call it watching because it's like you see the images perfectly in your head. But I like listening to audio dramas. From Spotify. That's kind of my favorite way of passing time. Just listen to a good audio drama. You get into the characters and the stuff like that. It's just like watching a movie in your head. Can't really do a TV or something in the workshop. I think those are a waste of. Personally, if you're watching TV in a workshop while you're working, sometimes you do more watching of the TV than you do of the working. So I personally, when doing this kind of work, I can't be that distracted myself,
Dana says, I'm a blacksmith, not a math teacher, LOL.
Exactly.
Jeff Killian says, once a year at the doctor's office, I have to count backwards from 20 to 20 by threes. See what you have to look forward to? Jared Reynolds says, Roy, glad to see ya.
Good to not see you, Gerald. Glad to have you part of the stream.
Vincent Luneman says, I'm rolling up some second cutting hay, so I'll just be listening today. Thanks for the show.
Yeah, very welcome. Thanks for joining.
Rusty Hubcap, hello.
Hey. Alan, good to see you. Let's
see, everybody was talking about the Quadstate sign-up fees. Yeah, if you sign up in the book, I know in the past it's been a little more expensive if you fill out the brochure than if you go online. They have less processing to do if you do it online, so they pass on the savings to people. And then obviously if you do in person too, at the gate, it's, I think, slightly more expensive than online too. Roger Caldwell says, Jeannie and I will be there around noon on Friday.
Right on. Well, hopefully we can get our usual spot.
That's what we're trying for.
Well, that's what we're trying for. So we look forward to seeing you down there.
Keith says, I'll have to talk with the wife and see if she wants to make a day trip out of it Saturday or if she trusts me alone, LOL. John Brunel says, I'll be pulling in probably Thursday morning.
Right on. Yeah, I'm not gonna. Yeah, we won't be there until Thursday evening time frame. So Thursday afternoon, Thursday evening, somewhere in there.
Ken Foster says, fun fact, during the black and white TV days, a lot of Americans reported dreaming in black and white. As color TV came out, it changed to color, showing how the media affects us.
That's fun.
Never would have thought about that. People dreaming in black and white.
Yeah, that's definitely different, ain't it?
Mm-hmm.
You think they would have had the dream in color.
Granddad says, I miss Quadstate.
You gotta come, Granddads. Close enough to do it.
Dana says, you guys live on a busy road. I thought it was a back road. Yeah, they're seeing all the traffic in the background.
Yeah, unfortunately we do. Yeah. We live on a kind of a main thoroughfare that bisects the state, so so that makes it one of those deals. What you're hearing is a lot of snowbirding traffic. Hearing a lot of snowbirds. It is also time for people to get off work, so mixed with work. My favorite is deep fall, and throughout winter there's no one up here, so it goes pretty much dead quiet on our road. So
John Brunel says, haha, I'll get there Thursday morning and steal your spot.
you just go right ahead, buddy. I need somebody to take and kick off my spot when I get there. I'll get down there, I'll be like, well, John took her spot. We're heading home.
That's it.
That's it. That's all we could do. Goodbye, slow, cruel world. Well, almost got half done.
Yeah. Keith says, and in the dead of winter, the GPS takes you through trails made for snowmobiles. If you ever visit Roy in the winter, make sure you have four-wheel drive.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, GPS will take you down some logging trails up here that ain't nobody go down in the winter. Well, locals anyhow. Because they know you'll be there till spring.
Granddad says, I would be using masking tape and an airbrush. Just saying. LOL, I'm lazy.
Mm-hmm. Well, there's a lot. That'd be a lot of masking tape.
The masking tape would be really difficult to get into the crevices that Roy's not going to be gilding. Bring you guys a little closer so you can see what I'm talking about. All the undersides he's not doing on the back sides of the scrolls.
You could mask off like collars maybe or some other stuff. Maybe.
Mm-hmm.
Go away with that.
GWI Railroad says, hi Roy and Jess. Sorry I've missed the last few live streams. I've been very busy with some big projects we wanted to get done on the property. Hope all is well with everyone here.
Hey, GWI, good to have you.
What kind of projects? Makes me curious.
It's anything like mine, it'll be too much to lift.
Yeah. Summer is always like the best time to get everything done.
He'll be like, darn, I wish I wouldn't have said that, because now it's like...
I gotta run through my list and it'll remind me of stuff that I was supposed to get done that I didn't get done yet.
Yeah.
Roger Caldwell, he's got the hands of a surgeon.
Roger Caldwell does?
No, he's saying you do.
Oh, I do, huh?
Yeah. I don't know if I'd go that far. He can't feel his fingers half the time. He drops stuff on my face sometimes.
I'll cut on you, it's fine. I accept all forms of insurance and non-insurance. Well, there's one interesting one, huh?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
1/2.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I don't know if this will be ready in time for quad.
Yeah. There's not a whole lot of days left.
Yeah, I don't have a lot of days left on it.
Well, you definitely won't be taking it half painted and half gilded.
Well, no. if this was the only thing I had to do in my life, then yeah, I could take it. But this isn't the only thing I have to do. So.
He says, does that mean I'll be dreaming of Roy painting tonight?
Only if you like having fun that kind of way. Well, whatever knocks your socks off, buddy.
Ken Foster says, getting ready for Halloween, plan to hand out candy and horseshoe nail hooks, and working on an owl bottle opener for Thomas.
I'm sure Thomas will like that.
Those are going to be some lucky kids.
Yeah. Well, what I feel bad, so I feel kind of, I actually feel kind of bad for Thomas. In a way, I pushed Thomas to get a grill done himself, and you know, and to my standards, you know, that kind of thing, and and then because I was like, oh, we'll take it up there, you know, we'll take our grills up there together to Quadstate. And then it's like, oh, yeah, by the way, I'm probably not going to finish mine. So Thomas did all his work, you know, be ready for quad. And then it's looking like I might not finish mine, so.
Mm-hmm. Dana says, are you going to enter the door knocker?
I might take it up there. It's the only thing that's done, then that's probably going to be the one to go.
Wayne at GWI says, lots of big trees for firewood, did 50 more foot of track, and did lots of fill dirt to put in place. For his miniature train.
Well, for the miniature train, that's right on, man. How many people go watching tonight, Jess?
Let me see where I see that.
Whole bunch?
Give me a second. 18.
18 people, huh?
Mm-hmm. Yep. It's like watching paint dry.
Yeah, it literally is, actually.
Exactly. Ken Foster says, I have a complaint about the heavy treadle hammer. I want to use it too much and only have one anvil. My wife doesn't believe me when I say I need another for regular hammer work.
Need another treadle hammer or another anvil?
I think he said only one anvil, so probably another anvil. One to keep under the treadle hammer.
Well, no, you need 2 anvils and another treadle hammer.
2 treadle hammers, 2 anvils.
Yeah, I mean,
He'll
yeah,
have
because
to tell his wife he needs a 3rd anvil then.
yeah, I mean,
For his
naturally, that's the way it works.
Dana says, you should enter it. I would be proud to put it on my door.
So, I've talked about this before. I actually did a whole video on this, but around this time, I get this, just doing stuff like this. Again, it's shocking to me, but I get imposter syndrome real bad. You know, I get that imposter syndrome, thinking like, oh no, everyone's going to see all my disgusting mistakes and all my hideous details I should have done different and yada, 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 you know. And I get this way around completing a project like this. Like, as I'm gilding right now, I'm thinking like, oh man, I wonder if they're going to see that little rough area there that I didn't get quite forged smoothly, you know, or whatever, you know, or oh, there might have been a tiny little paint run or something. I'm like, oh man, someone's going to for sure see that. You know, like, it's, so I'm really hard on my art. I'm really hard on myself about my artwork and things when it comes to that. I try not to be, you know, I try to be generally a positive person and think positive things, but yeah, I get that way. And then, you know, and then when you see that there's going to be other smiths there and they're going to have like really good ironwork too, you know, you just kind of like, in my head goes to like, man, well, I can't compete with any of that. It's not really a competition, but, you know, but in my brain, I'm like, you know, well, that's for sure going to show everyone that you're a fraud, you know, and that you don't know what you're doing. So I know that's not the right way to look at things, but it doesn't stop, you know, imposter syndrome doesn't have to be rational. Imposter syndrome is just something that, you know, it's an irrational feeler, you know, that you're not good enough. And you have to push past that, so. But boy howdy does it not feel real when you're doing stuff like this. You're like, man, it's like, I'm not sure I know what I'm doing. I'm not sure other people know what I'm doing. I'm for sure messing this all up. But that's kind of, you just have to go and do it. That's why it's always important, you know, if you see someone out there, you know, working and making and putting their best thing out there that they've got made, you know, chances are they suffered from a lot of imposter syndrome too before they showed up at said event. And it's always important to be encouraging to folks, you know, because you don't know how bad they suffered to just even take the chance, you know, mentally, how hard they suffered to even bring themselves to the point of taking the chance to go and show their stuff at a show in the first place, you know. It takes a good amount of courage to do that. And so it's kind of worth rewarding that courage with some kind words, you know. Of course, you don't have to like the, you know, you don't have to gush over a piece that's not quite up to snuff or whatever, but it's good to be encouraging with your words with people who are taking those chances in life and putting their best foot forward.
Roger Caldwell says we're always our own worst critic.
Most definitely.
John Brunel also says you're always your own worst critic. Just hold it up and look at it and ask yourself, how do you like it?
Well, that's a problem for me, John, because I'll be like, I don't like it at all. I think it's garbage. I should throw it in the bin. Hence the imposter syndrome is real, my friend.
Laura Kennedy says there are many times when developing a product, I have to fight with myself and say it's good enough for now.
Yep.
Ken Foster says, art critics, how many of them can do it? It's easy to be critical, harder to do the work.
Oh, yeah. Well, in the work that I'm doing here and presenting here, this isn't exactly like your first year smithing kind of stuff that you'll be doing out there. Like, this isn't, you know, gilding work and going above and beyond and this kind of stuff. You know, this is a little later on down the road, you know, so it's not like it's not saying that to be arrogant or anything. It's just, that's the truth about the work, right? Like, this is a far stretch above and beyond a bottle opener, you know, or a fireplace tool set or something like that, right, in the smithing world. And so there's not that many people that, if they were critical of this kind of work, could even make this sort of work. So, you know, that's kind of but it still doesn't change the perspective, you know, because I'm always aiming to be a humble person. I fail at it miserably most times, but I'm always aiming to be humble. And with that aim of trying to be humble and be a humble person and stuff like that, I'm not trying to just sit out there and just be like, yeah, my work's the best and no one else can be any good as mine and, you know, this, that. Like, no, I don't have that thought. In fact, I have the opposite.
Mm-hmm.
I have the opposite thought. Like, everyone's better than me and I should give up. I should give up now and go hide under a rock.
Robert Lana says, I find that I'm super critical the night that I'm making it, but when I sleep on it and go look at it the next day, I'm like, what was I thinking? It's awesome.
That's the best way you can have right there.
Dana says, last week the dispatcher said I was her #1 driver. Now everybody is giving me a hard time.
Accusing you of being teacher's pet, eh? Means you're doing something right.
John Brunel says, my first entry in a gallery or competition was my candlestick. I think of a little tiny candlestick when you say that, but
yeah.
if you're referring to, what is it? Was a candelabra? It's more of like a...
Yeah, it's big standing candelabra, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Some might just call it a feast for the eyes.
Mm-hmm.
A buffet for the soul.
Awesome Sausage says, I've made so many things that I'm almost ashamed to show others, but everyone seems to think that what I've made is beautiful. It's hard because I can see every mistake because I made them.
Yep. That's never going away. No matter where you're at, I don't think, in that journey. I think it's good, though. You know, I think that's a good thing. Not sure if this thing's looking at me or if it's just looking at the gilding work. Is it just looking at the gilding work? It's fine. It could just look at the gilding work. Okay. Some of that, I think, is there to help progress you, you know, and that's why you should look into it. You know, it's not a participation trophy, right? Like if you never felt inadequate in any way, and you're always perfectly adequate all the time, you know, stuff like that. No one can teach you or show you any better or whatever, right? Like, because you're already the top person of doing the thing, whatever that may be, right? What you end up with, unfortunately, in that is you stop learning, right? And then you don't feel like you need to progress because you've already been there, done that, got the medal, got the award, you know, you're the best. Everyone should now bow to your greatness, right? And I'm not saying that a lot of people feel this way or even have this kind of thought. I'm just saying that that's what it could lead to, right? And then it stops you from learning, and it stops you from your skills actually progressing and getting better, you know, in the long run, right? So it stops you from taking that extra mile. You know, it'd be like me the very first time I gilded anything to be like, yep, I'm a master gilder. Done and done. Nothing more to learn. Gilding's easy. You know, like, that would be a tragic misstep, right? Mm-hmm. Right? So you wouldn't learn about things, and then I wouldn't be making better ironwork, you know, better and better and better ironwork. I wouldn't progress any in my skills as gilding and stuff like that. And to point this out, I will say this too as well. Say my gilding isn't exactly the best. Well, historically speaking, blacksmiths were not gilders. Gilding was this whole separate, literal guild. It was a totally different line of work. It was not metalworking. You had gilders, and all they did was gild things. They didn't blow glass. They weren't woodworkers. They weren't figure carver. That they were gilders, and all they did was gild things. It's what they knew how to do. You wouldn't call a painter to fix your plumbing, right? Mm-hmm. And so back in the day, this would have been, you would have sent your work out to a gilding shop that would then gild what you wanted gilded. And this would not have been something that a blacksmith would have messed with at all. So this is like a completely different element. But problem is, there's no one here in America that does gilding work. You know, there's no gilding services out there. And if they were, they would be astronomical as far as expense. would be concerned. So, hence, Roy be gilding his scrolls himself. And you can see why. Because there wouldn't be a way of them avoiding this. You'd be paying somebody else, 60, 70 hours worth of work. So.
Roger Caldwell says, people of infinite patience. Crab Castle Forge, hello.
Hello, Crab Castle Forge. You want to hear something silly?
Hmm?
I thought for sure. I was thinking today before we started. I was like, you know what? Maybe I ought to get started on the gilding. And that way, I don't have to be wasting any time. I can get in there and then, I'll get started on the gilding and that would be good. And then I said to myself, I'm like, well, what if it goes really quickly and then I run out of content? Huh?
You could have just done one wrong worth and then stopped there.
What's that?
Earlier you could have done one rung worth of pieces.
Yeah. I should have started early in the day.
Or had you done that,
and I would have had most of it. I would have had most of it done except for one,
I think you have to let it dry for 24 hours, if I remember
Most
correctly.
paints you've got to let cure for 24 hours or better.
Yeah.
They don't dry fast. Questions, Jess?
Let's see.
Comments? Concerns?
Ken Foster says, seems like the older I get, the more random home improvement tasks I get from friends and family.
Call you got to turn off them cell phones.
He also says, you have a very particular set of skills that you have acquired over a long career, skills that were a nightmare for many people to try.
Oh, yeah.
Old Farm Show, hello.
Hello, hello.
Granddad says, Gilders Guild.
The Gilders Guild. Does Abigail have a little...
Little tiny paintbrush?
Well, I was going to try to get some of this paint out.
Uh-huh.
Maybe pour some of this paint out. And then that way I'm not letting the whole can go dry.
Yeah, like a little dish or something maybe.
Yeah. Well, it's fine for now. It's fine for now. Don't worry about it.
All right.
We'll keep... no.
Repeater.
Keep reading me comments, please.
That was up to date.
Is that up to date?
And I think you're right. I might have to go grab some of the studio lights.
Yeah, is it getting too dark for you?
It's getting a little darker than I would like.
Well, I've got my studio lights in the shop with a couple batteries already plugged into them. I'm going to bring one of those in.
And Foster says, Roy, do you have a lot of experience on how to make animal heads on handles? If you answer that, I'll go grab that.
I've done it a little bit. Animal heads, let's see here. I mean, they were never really my forte too much. Even when I was production smithing full time, I just didn't have a lot of call for it. There was a time, according to some of the older smiths, have been around the block a lot longer than I have. There was a time where, you didn't sell ironwork unless it had, excuse me, where you didn't even sell ironwork unless it had an animal head on it, because, that's what sold, was animal heads and stuff. And guys made all sorts of types of animal heads and things. I never had a call for it. There wasn't too many people who were buying that sort of thing from me at the time. So, when I was smithing like that, I was doing what sold. I've done that for most of my smithing career, has been whatever sells. If somebody says, hey, I want purple frogs, well, I forged purple frogs, by golly. You know what I mean? Or whatever it may be. But so yeah, so I have a lot of experience. I've made a lot of animal heads just for fun and just to say that I've done, but I never did them in a professional capacity where I actually had call to do them a lot, to where I could say that I was really good at them or masterful or anything like that. So they're a lot of fun to do. I will say that. A lot of fun. Takes a lot of time, unfortunately. It is fairly time consuming. It's a pretty time consuming process to do animal heads. It's fine if you're going to get paid enough for your fire poker or for your, skillet handle to put a raccoon's face on the side of it or something. That's fine. But if you're doing it from a professional sense, that's where I say it's just a lot of fun. Like as far as a hobby goes, it could be a lot of fun to just mess around and make an animal head. They're not super difficult to do. You just got to think out the process a little bit. Probably the biggest animal head I've made, the one that I've sold the most of and done the most, is a ram's head. Just your good old-fashioned classic ram's head. Fire poker, skillet, handle, or whatever. Ram's heads seem to be always kind of a popular thing. But I've forged birds' heads. I've forged, longhorns, Texas longhorn kind of, cattle, donkeys. I've forged all sorts of stuff. There's a guy by the name of Bill Epps. He was on YouTube for the longest. He had quite, but like, I was just adding it to my learning repertoire of like, I might use this someday, on that kind of front of things, thinking like, I might actually use this someday. This will be great. And then again, never had the call for it, never had the reason to actually use that information to that degree. Oh no, get off that. Thank you. Be careful with my brush strokes here. I'm getting real close to these cops.
There we go.
What's up?
Oh, it said unable to. Nope, we're here. Had some sort of issue.
Yeah.
There we go. That helps a lot.
Helps a lot on camera, but.
Oh, it makes it harder for you. I can turn down the percentage.
No, leave it for the camera. It's fine.
Well, it doesn't have to be
no, I'll just have to figure it out when I'm doing it. Just leave it.
Okay.
That's fine. It's fine. No. Trying to work my way up through here, get this whole one side done.
The Wheel of Death. Roy is saying the same thing over and over again. LOL.
Oh no.
We're back though.
We're back now?
Yeah,
we're good? Okay.
Yeah, it like timed out or something weird for a minute.
Okay, hopefully we're back. Technology, eh?
Uh-huh. Oh, I think it was an internet issue because my phone, the computer disconnected from the internet all on its own.
Oh, okay. Internet issue?
Yeah, because my...
Hit a buffer?
Yeah.
Such fun.
Such fun. Fun with computers.
Alright. Set up over here. You can turn off that air, Jess. I don't need that extra air now.
Okay.
That extra air is kind of like...
A little over the top.
Yeah. Questions, comments, concerns, complaints.
Yeah. It says, oh, you're back. We are.
Yeah, sorry we lost everybody.
Before that...
Our internet dropped out.
Let's see. Ken Foster says, I have a book from David Ferguson showing step-by-step on about 15 different heads. My local guild just had a class on making those heads. I'll send along the book with the other items for the Christmas giveaway.
Hey, right on. I appreciate that.
Baka says, have a great weekend, everybody. And for those who are going to Quadstate, enjoy and be safe.
Thank you, Tabaka. Thanks for joining us.
His phone was starting to overheat.
Well, sorry we missed you. Thanks for joining us.
Or it's just too hot.
It's too hot, baby. Too hot.
Keith says, I'm going to leave for now. I got a couple of orders myself that need to get done since it's not 90 degrees out anymore. Take care.
All right. Take care, Keith. Thanks for stopping by, bud.
Beth Roach says, I really love the daffodil blanks you created.
Awesome. Glad you enjoy them.
Mike Connolly says, I got my copper blanks today. Thanks, you guys.
Very welcome.
Wayne Heights, question. How are you all?
Doing good, Wayne.
It's been a little manic here lately, but we're getting there. It's like 14-hour days trying to catch up on stuff.
Yep, been a little nutty. Been a little nutty, buddy.
But we're healthy, which is
Yep,
good.
we're healthy.
Can't complain there.
So far, so good on that front.
I'll show you guys off to the side here. Something that I've been up to lately. So our local homeschool group, I'm teaching a class on junk journaling. So I've been working on this one. This is kind of like the example that I show the kids.
Way, beautiful. Just take it that way.
Okay.
Yeah.
There we go. Yep. So I've been doing a little bit of this here and there when I have a few minutes. It's like this week's prompts was like an about me page. So I had asked several different people what 3 adjectives that describe me. So yeah, that's one thing that I've been up to. He says, glad everyone is well and things are good. Busy is mostly a good thing.
Yeah, I'd say it's pretty good.
We did, so like, we've had multiple weekends in a row now where we haven't really had a break. It's just like we work through the weekends and then Monday starts, you know, and it's just been daily work for like the last 3 solid weeks. Partly some of those are things that we chose, but we went and did Harmony Fest in our town for last weekend in August. So that was, it's like a giant craft show. It's like supposed to be second largest in the state. So we did that as 2-day event plus a day ahead of time setting up. So, you know, those can be kind of long days. You have to drag all your stuff out there and set up your booth space and then sit there all day long, you know, interacting with customers and making sales. And then at the end of the day, you know, you have to tidy up stuff. And then at the end of the thing, you have to pack everything down. So that was a big weekend when we did that. And then the following weekend, I believe, we did apple cidering. So we have a cider press and we have quite a few apple trees on our property. So when we have a bumper crop, we bottle apple cider. So we did, was it 19 gallons or I forget how many total gallons.
We did 17 gallons for ourselves and total is 20 gallons of cider this year. Yeah, put up.
Yeah. Yeah, so we did 2 days of cidering and then got everything kind of cleaned up and stored. We got finished putting in its final storing location. But so we did that. And then this most recent weekend, we helped Roy paint his sheds that he's working on. He's making some steel storage sheds for to replace like one of those temporary carport type things that we have. That the canvas on it is getting torn up. We just get real high winds and the thing's about 2 years old. So it's just not going to survive another winter. So Roy's been working on that and Thomas has been helping some. And then so the kids and I helped him get it all painted and get a couple of real good layers of equipment paint on it this last weekend.
On the frame, yeah.
On the frame, yep. Roger, no, we don't sell cider. In Michigan, you have to have a certain license for selling any types of drinks. So we just make it for ourselves, really.
And then we give it away to family and friends. That kind of thing.
We'll have it at parties and stuff like that, too. Wayne says, great job, Jessica. We think the homeschooling is so great. Yeah, we get a lot of compliments on our kids, and so I think that's kind of confirmation that we're going in the right direction. They're well behaved and well rounded, and um, it allows us to really focus on their particular skills and interest and their natural leanings. So we do really like the homeschooling from that avenue. Thomas says, so much focus, Roy.
Yeah, it requires a lot to get it done right. So, yeah, on homeschooling, it's funny. There's a lot of, you know, there's always a lot of jokes around homeschoolers, being kind of backwards or inbred or a lot of things like that. But the actual statistics on homeschooled children is by and large, by and large, they have some of the highest GPAs in the country. So, and that's not just because mommy and daddy said, "Oh, my student's a 5.7 GPA." That doesn't exist, by the way.
Mm-hmm.
But it's not because of that. It's just because of the individual time and care that the kids get with their education. And Jessica, she is a real spinster when it comes to the schooling. So they're not getting out of it, and generally we take little breaks here and there, but for the most part they are schooling year round. So there is no official like, oh, I'm just gonna go sod off for the summer and not have to do anything and not have to think anything. Wrong answer. We do different forms of schooling as well. So one of the things we're currently focusing on with our kids is, my oldest daughter's 15. She's 15 years old, and so she's really good. She's a very talented painter and artist, an artisan, and so we are busy doing a lot of stuff to teach them, her and her brother and her and her sister. We've been working on teaching entrepreneurship training with them and getting them to kind of have their own little side hustle started, and how to take and do a budget, and how to keep books, and how to Jessica's been working with things like, oh, this is what taxes might look like to you, and things like that, and so you just can't get that in, unfortunately, you just can't get that in the public school system. They're too focused on other things.
Mm-hmm.
So, but we're focused on getting our children the best start that we can possibly do for them, and get them set up the best we can.
Yep.
While making them do the work. I think that's crucial. You have to make them do the work. Life's about work. Life's not about a silver spoon. I wasn't born with a silver spoon in my mouth, by golly, and my kids won't be either. So, so they'll have some advantages their dad never had, but they sure as heck are going to have to work for it.
Wayne Hines says, with homeschooling, one can keep an eye on what they learn.
Yep.
Mm-hmm. Roger Caldwell says, not from our family. Jeannie knows as a former teacher that homeschooling is far better than public schooling.
Yep. I think what it is, so, not to disparage anybody who's got their kids in public school, you got to do what you got to do, right? For some people it's not possible. You got to live, you got to have two incomes, just to make things work, right? And that's been the kind of the common thing for a lot of folks. And so, everyone's a little bit different, but if you can homeschool your kids, don't look at it as keeping them from things. That's kind of the, again, that's a bit of a, that's a secular view of it in a way. That it's not a very good view. It's pretty much a shallow view of it. It's not about keeping your kids from something. It's about being able to provide extra to your children and their educational needs, if you can do that. Some people think, well, if I keep them out of school and I homeschool them, well, they're going to miss out. They will miss out proportionately to your involvement in their lives, and that's just the truth about homeschooling. So, you know, if you're afraid that they're going to miss out on field trips, well, guess what? Instead of Miss So-and-so doing the field trip, it's mommy or daddy doing the field trip to such and such, you know. And so that's kind of where it's at. But, you know, instead of focusing on just getting a good median grade, you know, like, oh, well, we just got to push so many people through. And yeah, little Timmy is really flunking at writing his name. Well, pass him. He's on to the next grade anyhow. Everything else is good. No. Instead, you can just sit there and you can focus on little Timmy writing his name correctly. Mm-hmm. You know, like, and that's the way to look at homeschooling, in my opinion, is that it's an additive, not a subtractive.
There are a lot of families in the homeschool groups that have their kids are involved in a lot of stuff, so it's not like their kids are lacking socially. Like, you know, they're still in sports, or they're doing dance, or they're in like Science Olympiad. And, you know, like our team for Science Olympiad for the homeschool group, the kids got together twice a week to study for it. And then, so they won local, then they won regionals, they went to state, they were in the top ranking for state, but because they were homeschooled, they weren't allowed to go to nationals, but they were like first place in state. Yep. Yeah, there was some sort of rule that said that you had to be from a school district in order to go to nationals, but
which is bogus.
Yeah.
But that's the way it works. Fortunately, though, things have gotten a lot better from the days when I was homeschooled.
Yeah, there's a lot.
I was homeschooled early on, real early on, when it was illegal to homeschool. So, it was all but illegal to homeschool. It was really a faux pas. It was not something that people did. So,
bye, Troy. Have a good dinner.
Take care, Troy.
Yeah, we'll see you in Quadstate. He says, can't wait to see all dear friends next week. And Roy.
And the Roy.
And Roy. Manga 12 says, with homeschooling, you don't get some of the bull that some places try to shove on the kids. Yeah, that's one of the bigger factors. It's them trying to push agendas.
Again, you can focus, you can add, not subtract, but add. You can give them the arithmetic, right? You can focus on right spelling. You can focus on English. You can focus on math and science. And none of the other nonsense.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, we had it's interesting, you know, the subject of homeschooling. It's a lot more favorable now, especially after the pandemic, you know, because a lot of people were forced all of a sudden to homeschool their children, which was kind of hilarious for me. In a way, just as like everyone having that oh crud moment and then having to like realize what teachers have been putting up with. Your little hellion in class is at home, you know, and like that was a little comical for me, you know, in a way, on that end of it. But things are a lot more, you know, people are more accepting that way now. If you say you're homeschooled, it's not like, oh, whoa, homeschooled. Well, everyone was homeschooled for a couple of years, so, you know, it's not that big of a, not that crazy of a thing anymore. But we went to a blacksmithing class one year. It was at Touchstone Center for Crafts, and there was another blacksmith there. And you know, this would have been when our kids were like kindergarten age, like kindergarten, first grade, first, second grade in kindergarten, that kind of thing. And there was another blacksmith there that his wife taught public school in like New York, basically, or I forget where it was at. It was either New York, it might have been New England. I think he was out of New England, if I'm not mistaken. So she had a very staunch view of like homeschool children are dumb and they are backwards, and like this was like her stout viewpoint on it. And he told me while we were in class, he said, that she was shocked. She was talking with him, in the evenings, like after spending the day with our kids, and she's like, wow, they're so intelligent, and they speak so clearly, and and they can how do you want to say it? They can. What was her words there, Jess?
They were eloquently spoken.
Yeah, eloquently. Yeah, spoken, right? And things like that, and just very sharp. And he was telling me that when she found out originally that they were homeschooled, she was shocked. She was shocked that they were homeschooled because, again, she had this kind of preconceived bias that, homeschooled kids are unintelligent. And she ended up getting a different awakening on that, And I always took that as a big mark of pride on that with doing the homeschooling and the kids and whatnot. So, questions, Jess?
Yep, I'm refreshing the chat.
Okay. As you can see, we could talk about just about anything as we watch paint dry. Mm-hmm. And if you like this sort of thing, subscribe. Because not only are we doing ironwork, but we're talking about life. Mm-hmm.
Manga says, it isn't for everyone. Kids don't even talk to friends in real life.
Yep.
John Brunel says, a lot of people say it leads to lack of social skills, but the social climate in schools isn't what it used to be.
Yeah, true. I don't know, we haven't been in school. We haven't been in the schools to even say, really. But, take your word on it.
Yeah, Manga. A lot of people who do homeschool are also homesteaders. So yeah, they kind of have that more independent spirit. I'd say probably 90% of our homeschool group at least raises a garden. And probably a good quarter of them are actual farmers as their profession.
And another funny thing about that, because that's a good observation, right? That's a good observation. But that could also have, again, that could have that implication, like where you always say, well, everyone who's always done, again, it's like, oh, well, homeschool children aren't as smart or whatever, or they're socially awkward or backwards or this or that. It's like those kind of broad brushstrokes, right? It's true that a lot of them are, a lot of people who homestead end up homeschooling their children and do that. And then there was some people way back in the day that thought that was kind of crazy. Like preppers. Preppers are kind of crazy. No one was saying that peak per pandemic, were they?
They were not.
Everyone was like, holy heck, how do I learn how to can? I've never butchered a chicken before. Could I figure out how to butcher a chicken? Where do eggs come from, right? Like all of a sudden people were like, thinking they were going to be these end-of-the-world survivalists out of the blue,
Yeah.
So what was crazy before is all of a sudden not so crazy. Having that extra gallon of gas at home sitting in the garage, now doesn't seem so crazy, right? Having a few extra foods and provisions sitting in the cupboard, right, is now no longer, you're not like some nut job. You're just like, I don't have to go to the grocery store while they're rioting or looting or whatever. So nice. I think I will take a bubble bath later.
Yeah.
Suddenly, that's not such an insane proposition,
Mm-hmm.
I think it did a big awakening in that way.
Wayne Height says, as long as the homeschool student doesn't get a crush on the teacher.
Yeah, as long as that's not good. There's this funny Studio C sketch that they do that.
Oh, yeah.
And they talk about, it's like, yeah, they're
homeschool
like...
musical.
The homeschool musical, yeah.
Yep.
It's like the sister and the mom going to prom. with your mom. That thing. It's pretty funny.
It's funny, yeah.
Because they pretty much like summed up all of like the worst fears
yeah.
and stereotypes. That's the right word for it.
Yeah,
they pretty much summed up all the stereotypes, homeschooling stereotypes that are out there in one video. It was pretty funny.
Jeff Killian says, best education I got was 1, working on a farm, and 2, going to the hunting cabin.
Oh yeah, you learn a lot.
It reminds me of Thomas's silly movie.
Lord.
Escanaba in the moonlight.
In the moonlight.
In the moonlight.
In the moonlight.
I'm not sure if that's the type of education people
That is not the
need,
kind of education no one needs. Like, nobody needs. To heck with Thomas for even recommending it.
Oh man. It's a hunting camp movie. It's hilarious and quirky, and you're gonna regret watching it.
You'll regret watching it. I don't know. I lost brain cells watching it, I'm pretty sure. I didn't start off with that many to begin with.
We'll have to see if Thomas is still here to defend it.
Yeah, well, yeah, he's not here. I don't know.
He dropped in a little
Maybe
bit
he is.
ago.
Huh?
He was
did?
in the stream a little bit ago.
That's cool. Oh. Woo!
Drink break.
Yeah, drink break. I got I got 1 baluster done.
Dana asked if we're going to do any streaming from Quadstate.
Probably not. Quadstate is such an undertaking for us to be involved and be present. It's hard to stream or do video or other things from. In the past and even now, they've been they're weird about that too, to a degree. They've they just always have been.
Yeah, in the book it talks about
like
not
people
filming
taking and
commercially.
filming or doing anything, and since we make money off of our stuff, it would be a commercial type thing, and yeah, it's just not worth it. I'm not interested in promoting their event that much and not being paid to do so and then end up being hassled because I did so I'm not really interested in that. I mean, I don't mind mentioning like that's where we're going and it's a fun event and that sort of stuff, but that's all the freebies you get out of me.
Took you an hour 20 to get the first one done.
An hour 20.
Woo!
Woo!
So you have in total about 4.5 hours once you get across them all.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We're going quicker and quicker. Not. I do think that's going to look very striking, though.
Oh, yeah. Yep.
I think I was debating, like, do I just leave it all black? Maybe just do the collars, do the collars in gold and just leave the whole grill black and stuff. And no, I just want the pop. So I want the pop. Can they see me okay?
Yep, you're good.
All right. So in my work, I'm going to go ahead and it's going to be like a little side jaunt here. Little side rant, if you will. Something I've noticed for the last decade or so in ironwork, and it might be coming back, it might be making a different resurgence. People have, for the longest, so how do I say this? Ironwork follows architecture. Art follows architecture to a large degree. And there has been a real push for a very long time for modern architecture to be sterile, to be clean lines, minimalistic in nature, right? You want it to look space aged, right? There's been like a turning of the back, so to speak, in a lot of artwork against pomp and against how you would say traditionalism, right? There's been a big rejection of that for the last couple decades, at least for the last few decades. And this is before I even got in to this. This has been happening for a long time. But I'm happy to report a lot of it's coming back. A lot of the traditionalism's coming back, and people are trying to discover and reinvent the wheel, so to speak, that we should have never forgot in the first place. We should have never lost those techniques in the first place. But they got lost because they fell out of style. They weren't in vogue anymore, right? And so my efforts in my ironwork, the things that get me out of bed in the morning and makes me want to go out to the shop and make something and forge something, is this type of work. And what I've seen, and what you'll liable see probably at Quadstate and probably at any blacksmithing club or get together you go to, you see a lot of just plain iron. No frills. It's plain. If it's got anything of interest, it's usually some heavy power hammer texture to it, right? It does not have, it's not refined. There's no refinement in it. Many a times I've heard other blacksmiths, older blacksmiths and stuff, talk about how, they hate paint on ironwork. They like, you should just show off the ironwork. The examples of ironwork that we have to this day were painted. And that's why they last. They were protected from the elements to a degree, right? There's a lot of examples that way. They were galvanized, they were hot dip galvanized, and that's why they still exist now, is because their surfaces were covered or coated in something at one time, right? Usually lead-based paint, but, sorry, I just seen some areas I missed.
Oh yeah, touch them up.
So I'm going to touch them up while I'm talking. So, with that being said, that's what you see. So I am being the forefront runner of the people, and I'll say that with some confidence because I do not see anybody else out there that is doing the kind of work that I'm doing. I don't see other people out there currently, and I'm out in a lot of blacksmithing communities out there around the globe. I don't see people taking in, there's not a lot of people, I shouldn't say, that are putting an effort into returning to the old ways of doing ironwork or having that traditional look. And so, yeah, that's one of the things that I'm trying to bring back to the forefront, the imagination, because everything with the minimalism and the starkness and everything's just so blah, and, buildings are blah, they're cubes now. We went from like Greek and Roman architecture to cubes. People will go to college for frickin' 12 years to get a master's degree in architecture to draw a box. Good God. All they did was draw a box. And then like they're getting degrees for this. Stuff like that. And so I'm hoping that ironwork, my ironwork specifically, I don't know about anybody else's, but I'm hoping my ironwork specifically will inspire the next generation to turn away and snub your noses at minimalism and go back into a world where we can get the world back to being pretty. Back to having ambiance, right? Back to that slow crackling campfire that everybody likes, and in the misty woods, and and that cobblestone street with a little amber street lamp glowing on it, you know what I mean, while a fog gently rolls in. That kind of ambiance is what's missing in society, and what it does is it just hurts people's creativity. If you ever feel like you're having a trouble being inspired to do anything or make anything or create anything, that's why. You're surrounded in a world of minimalism, of blah. And you were never meant to be a square or blah. That's not what you were meant for. You were meant to create. You were given animation and life by a creator to do what? Create. That's your whole mission here. You should be creating things. And that's my own opinion. I'll stick on that soapbox for a little bit. So with my artwork, I've heard people say on some of this stuff like, I think the gold leaf, it takes, it just makes it too busy looking. Like, I mean, okay, how about I just take some raw steel sticks of iron, weld them all together, and then call that art? I've seen that happen before. I've seen people sell that garbage before, and that's exactly what it is. It's garbage. It's minimalism, and I hate it. I personally have a very high dislike to minimalism when it comes to that. So that's my. If you're wondering why go through all the effort to gold leaf it, why put silver leaf on the collars, why did you go and make a grill that has 96 scrolls in it and things like that, right? I couldn't care less if this thing ever sells. Couldn't care less. I didn't make it or to intend for it to ever sell. But my ironwork that I plan on making is going to be for a very, very select client base. That have that eye for what good ironwork and good architecture is, and it will fit their buildings. It definitely will not fit in the most modern museum of modern art where someone went like that to a canvas and made $1 million. It won't fit there, and I'm glad it doesn't. So I used to try to fit my ironwork in that mold. No more. No more. So
you're finding yourself.
You're
trying to figure out what you wanted to do and where you belong.
Yeah. I mean, I've sold some really hideous ironwork that was just me being a schmuck about it to some suckers that bought it. So I have done that before. It hasn't been beyond me, but it's like, nope, I've decided in this later stages of my smithing career I won't be doing that anymore. So
Wayne Hines says, my opinion is the best architecture is from the Grand Cathedral era.
Grand Cathedral era.
Gissy says, is this the premiere piece for the weekend?
It might be the premiere piece for the weekend. We'll see. There's going to be a lot of good stuff out there. It all depends on whether I can get it gilded in time. If I can't get it gilded in time, it just don't go.
GWI Railroad says, good choice, Hip Pops.
Thank you.
John Brunel says, would have been faster to paint the whole thing gold and then hand paint the black parts.
Probably. But do you know how much gilding that would be? Be expensive. Unless I'm just painting it just in this gilding primer. Yeah. Spray paint it all in gilding primer.
Yeah.
And then blacken out the other areas.
Yep. Yeah, I think that's what he's saying.
You're 100% right, John.
Yeah.
Good note for next time. Time. Where were you when I was planning this whole thing?
Just waiting for a call so he could give you his advice.
He's like on standby.
Dana says, gotta go, everyone. Have a great weekend. God bless Roy, Jess, and family.
God bless you, Dana. Take care. Have a great weekend, brother.
Wayne Heights, a world of cost effectiveness. Now they duct tape a banana to the wall and call it art. Yes. Oh. Yes, they do. Yeah, I think Roy's told the story before of the burning bush that we put in the Ohio State Fair. And there's actually a bush that lit on fire, had a small propane tank under it, and he forged it with orifices in it so that it could be lit on fire. The whole thing flamed. And
it was basically like a gas log fire pit feature. So it made much like a gas log fire pit.
Yep.
And so this way, it would look like a bush that was burned and never consumed, Kind of cool concept.
Very cool concept. They would not let him demonstrate it running, though. And so
they wouldn't let me put a big picture of it.
Yeah, we printed a poster-sized picture of it, which would have been accurate to its actual size. They wouldn't let us display that. So instead, it got a little 4x6 photo next to it. And I think first place for that show was an installation that basically was chicken wire with pink ribbons hung from it. That was first place. And People's Choice or something like that was a porta-john that had the toilet part removed, and it had a bucket in the center, and it had black and white checkered floor, and that got a prize too. So I think at that point you decided not to enter stuff in those type of things anymore.
I was done with galleries.
Yeah.
And done with shows at that point, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I realized I was in the wrong thing.
Mm-hmm. You weren't gonna be able to get along with those type or impress them either.
Nope. A real artist with someone who finger paints. Nope. Not going to get along. Not the right venue for my work.
John Brunel says, I got all my work for the week done early, so I have time to watch the stream.
Awesome, John. Well, thank you for doing that.
Gissy says that's actually an awesome concept. And yeah, I'd hold some resentment towards that.
Yeah. I was almost healed from it, but Jessica brought it back up.
I did, sorry. You almost let it go.
Now I'm going to be waking up in a cold sweat tonight. No! No! Not that! You know? Why did it win?
John Brunel, if you buy the maintenance program, they will come change the banana once a week. That's duct tape to the wall. Gissy, what's the piece to the right of Roy that's gilded? To the right. If you're referring to in the background...
Nope.
This... Oh, that?
That's to the right of me.
Oh, well, on the camera to the right of you is... Well, here, we'll say the both. Door knocker, and back there is Thomas's piece that he made for Quadstate.
Yep, that's not gilded.
Not gilded, yeah.
This is the only thing that's gilded in the frame,
Okay. Hello, Transcendental Artist Studios.
Hello, hello. Good to have you join us.
Says, feels so wrong not to be going this year. Hopefully there's not a monsoon. That's what we heard happened last year, but we weren't there.
Yeah.
Wayne Hines says, unfortunately my caregiver duties call. Be safe and be well, everyone.
Take care, Wayne. God bless you, brother.
Looks like we currently have 15 watching, 22 thumbs up.
Moving on. Seems a little lower on attendance this week.
Yeah, I think, if I remember from the past, September seems to be lower attendance on live streams because people are busy getting ready.
Yeah, people got fall chores, stuff like that going on.
And like orders to get done before Quadstate and whatever kind of prep they have to do too.
Yeah. Bunch of slackers.
John Brunel, best part is my supervisor told me where would be a good place to hide, LOL. Gissy says, thank you for all the cross blinks. Just got my package today.
Very welcome. Glad it got to you safe and sound.
Ken Foster says, so I heard 40 hours. I see you are scooting along. What comes after the first coat?
What comes after the first coat is a second touch-up coat. Just make sure I got everything good. Then it's gilding size, which is the adhesive that the gold leaf sticks to. And then once I get the gilding size on the piece, then I start gilding, and then that's gonna be a slow process. So The gilding size takes between 1 to 3 hours to get to the right amount of tack that is necessary for it to be like an adhesive, where things will stick to it like it's supposed to. And so, with that being said, because it takes that long to get to that right amount of tack, that right amount of adhesive there, quality, I could only do so much at a time to gild. And I made the mistake on gilding this of getting it all coated in gilding size all at once. And I had it all coated in gilding size, but I wasn't that quick at gilding. So parts of it had already dried out by the time I got to putting it on. So the gold leaf didn't stick. So I had to end up doing gilding size again and waiting another 3 hours. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to do each half of the scroll bundle separately. So is the plan. So that means it will be 1 to 3 hours on one side. Once all the gilding is done on that side, it'll be 1 to 3 hours on the other side, and so on and so forth, all the way up the way. So that's why it'll take so long to do. This is actually, I kind of wonder if this piece here isn't something that's a bit more complex than what would have been gilded back in the day. What people would have worried about gilding back in the day in this way, just because of how complex this piece is and how hard it is to get into just little areas and stuff like that. I don't know if this is something that historically would have been gilded like this, just because of how difficult it is to get into areas. So, but maybe I'm wrong. Maybe they would have. Who knows? I wasn't there. I'm just trying to figure that out now.
Yeah, you'd have to look back at like some photographs of historical.
There is no photographs from the 1500s.
Well, yeah, I guess not. Drawings, maybe, if somebody made drawings of it.
Whether somebody gilded, I don't know.
Yeah.
You know, I'm not sure how they would have chosen.
John Brunel says he's not leaping yet, just putting on the paint. Heat gun. Ken Foster says, would a heat gun help?
You can rush it a little bit. What I found with the heat guns with this type stuff is it kind of makes it a bit gooey. So like you can, like it still takes the cure time. I found that with the most paints that I've been doing, that like you can't rush their cure time. Now their dry time, where you can't just stick your hand in it and it rub off on your hand instantly, that's different than its cure time. So I've tried heat guns before to rush stuff along, and it always kind of gets a little tacky and kind of goopy like.
Mm-hmm.
So you really can't just rush it, especially with the gilding size. So the gilding size has resin in it. It's got a resin in it, so when you heat it up, it becomes extra gooey. It doesn't actually, like, it don't harden up. It just, like, it gets gooey. That's the best way I can explain it. It gets tacky-er, not dry-er. So, you know, you can't rush it. I know paint, like when I painted these surfaces, the particular paint I was using, even though I had it out in full sun, had a good wind flow going on it, great day, it wasn't wet or anything, getting this thing painted up, yeah, it just kind of had a tacky feeling to it until like 24 hours later, and then it hardened up. So I don't know if it's a formulation change they've done or what the deal is, but that's been my experience so far. So you can get it dry to the touch, but it won't be good to go until like 24 hours later.
Ken Foster says, you used oil-based paint, or does that matter?
It's oil-based, yeah. I don't know if it matters. Don't know if it makes a difference. I haven't researched it enough, I guess.
Hello,
I imagine it makes some difference. What's up?
Oh, I said hello, Chuck Miller.
Hello, Chuck.
John Brunel says, but can't you jump back and forth, add a little size and a little gild in a different spot while that spot is tacking up?
Yep, I sure can.
Like, so maybe if like every 30 to 45 minutes you did a new spot, then there would be that much delay between areas.
Yeah, and that's probably what I'll do.
Mm-hmm.
So I could do something like that over here, and then I'd have to do something completely over here. Because any of them little gold flakes floating around, they will stick to the wet stuff. And they might stick in the wrong area. If you got a little extra size, if your size accidentally got painted over onto the surface of your baluster here, well, guess what? It's going to be gold. You know, like it'll collect that. So you can go on one side of it. So you could probably do, like I could do this half of this scroll, then come over here and do this half of this other scroll. And then, you know, this one would be getting close to being tacky, ready to gild. This one would still have a little bit. And then I could go up maybe and do this quadrant up here. And I might be able to work like that and get it done that way. So either way, it will still just be a long process no matter what, really. But that's just the way it works. So I'll paint it up. Wait for Jessica to come read me more comments.
I'll be right back. Getting my drink refilled. Do you need any more drink too, babe?
Any questions? All right.
Getting a little snacky. It's almost 7 o'clock.
Yeah.
Let's see. Kiddo still does not have ears pierced, so spider earrings are a go this Halloween. Awesome. Sully says, after messing around with gilding a little bit last year, this is going to give me nightmares of little bits of foil everywhere.
Yeah, that happened. So they make imitation gold leaf that you can get. Real gold leaf is better, in my opinion, than the imitation gold. And I'm not saying that because I'm like, oh, only the best, you know, or whatever. I have found that the imitation gold, it doesn't really burnish together very nicely. So it doesn't it doesn't mesh well together. So if you had a little spot that was missed and a little spot that was missed and you put a little bit of gold leaf on top and you try to rub that in, well, in regular gold leaf, they'll blend together. In the imitation gold, they just kind of lays there as an additional flake of leaf on top of the piece. It doesn't actually blend in. That's been my experiment. That's been my experience with the imitation gold leaf. Now, it's entirely possible I've done something wrong, and that's why it's like it is. That's why I've had that problem or that issue. That's entirely possible. But, yeah, you get little flakes everywhere. Especially with imitation gold. I don't know if you were, using imitation gold on yours, but definitely the flecks everywhere. You get the same with the regular gold, too. So you get that little gold stuff everywhere.
Says the 23K did way better than the imitation gold and the silver and copper leaf.
Oh, yeah. It almost wants to fuse itself, basically, is what I found. You could take real gold leaf, you could put it between your fingers and go like that, and it dissolves into your hand. So that's been my experience with it.
Gissy, we get our gilding from, we did Amazon this time. It's the exact same stuff that we got from Rio Grande before. But I added a full list of supplies and stuff down in the video description.
Those are Amazon affiliate links, so they do go to help support the channel if you just decide to purchase your stuff through there.
Mm-hmm.
But affiliate doesn't mean we own any of those. We just get a small commission, like 3 to 4%.
Mm-hmm.
If you do choose to buy something through those links at no additional cost to you. Which I think is the only selling point for anybody to buy from a YouTuber who's pointed them to their Amazon affiliate link. Is that there's no additional cost to you, the buyer, for doing so.
Mm-hmm. Hello, Paul Fontanini.
Hey, Paul. Glad to have you in the stream, sir. I can tell already this is going to be a much better method. It's extra time consumption, but I can tell already that this is something in this gilding primer. I don't know, it's got like a chalkiness to it. It's got like a thickness to it in a way. Like once it goes on, and it just kind of feels like it's going to have a lot better. It's going to make the gold kind of be a bit smoother. I guess, you know, it's going to give it a chance to be able to really shine that gold up something fierce, you know.
Mm-hmm.
So I could just tell right off the bat. So I like doing it this way. So it'll be something I'll be incorporating in future gilding projects.
Mm-hmm.
What else we got, Viejo?
Oh, that's it for now.
Yeah.
But probably a good time for me to mention our sale that we're doing for anybody who's not going to Quadstate. If you're stuck at home or stuck working and you're hoping you could have been there and catch on to some of the big sales we're having at Quadstate, we're, you know, knocking off quite a bit because we don't have to worry about shipping anything, and you know, just give people a discount for coming and seeing us in person. But if you can't do that, we do have this going online for a couple of days from September 25th to 29th, where we're doing 15% off of the tools, the digital downloads, and the blanks. But you have to use the coupon code September sale altogether. And if you have the newsletter too, I sent the email out yesterday that mentions this as well. So take advantage of that if you can't make it and you want to get some extra tools or blanks in. So hold that up there just for a minute if anybody needs to screenshot it. And then we will get back to Roy. Ta-da!
Wow. Such an amazing thing. I'm sure they were just so excited to see something else, actually, than the top of my head with a little paintbrush in my hand. This is like really riveting stuff. Powerful stuff.
Paul Fontanini says, stuck in Australia. Yeah, that reminds me. We got an email from our website the other day talking about that and how we've hit some sort of limit where we have to do some additional stuff with the VAT stuff. So I started looking into it. I haven't told Roy this yet because we just haven't had time to talk about it yet. But basically they require it over a certain amount or something like that. It sounds kind of like a sales tax, but they require you to do it. So I'll have a bunch more research to get into it. I just read into it for like 15 minutes and it sounded really involved. So
the filthy gov.
Yeah.
Always hurting commerce.
Ken Foster says, purely hypothetical or based on experience. For a big thing like Quadstate, is it worth it for a new smith to set up a booth or wait until the skills get better?
Set up a booth as in
like either sell stuff, I guess?
So the booth selling at Quadstate is tailgating of tools, basically. Okay, that is the main primary sales that are going on at Quadstate. I have seen people try to sell their ironwork there, and you're in the wrong audience.
Mm-hmm.
You're selling ironwork to a bunch of ironworkers. Like, you can't do that. Okay, so, but let's say you're a tool maker. Let's say you make hammers or tongs or whatever other useful things you think you can add or bring to the table there. Okay, there's no fee but the weekend. There's no fee except for what you have to pay for the registration for the weekend. And then you can sell stuff right off the back of your truck. So I would not say that that is something that should ever be time and craft dependent, right? So there's people who go there who just literally go out and buy blacksmith tools all year long and come to Quadstate to sell them. They are not blacksmiths. Mm-hmm. They are not blacksmiths themselves. They go to flea markets and auctions and whatnots, and they scavenge up on blacksmithing tooling all year long, and then they come to Quadstate to sell it all off. All their finds that they found, right? So that is not skill dependent. Now, that being said, the size of a show does not necessarily, on the art side of things, I'll talk to folks here for a second about this. The size of the show on the artwork side of things does not necessarily indicate skill. There have been at events that were promised to be, tens of thousands of people go through this event and booth space super high, and there's a dude from Mexico selling yard art, right? That he bought from India. I've been to shows where they were promised to be like these amazing, like all artisanal, handcrafted everything, and it was people selling stuff from, Alibaba Express over there or something, And so, therefore, no, it wasn't this big art show, it was misled. So even that is not necessarily skill dependent. With all that being said, where does it matter to take and have skills as a beginner? And when can you feel confident enough to get out there and start selling your stuff? I would say when you are willing to stand behind the quality of the product that you made, gladly and happily. So that's different for everyone. I know there's sometimes, you can put something out on the internet, and maybe a Facebook group or something like that, and people are like, ew, who would ever buy that? Again, you're talking to other blacksmiths. You're not talking to potential clients, right? And so it's important for you to understand your target demographic. It's important for you to always put your best foot forward of making the best ironwork you can. Jess, can you get me a coffee, please? If you're going to be over there and not reading comments. Can I get
coffee?
Yes, a coffee, please. So, I might have to flip this camera around. So, if you could do... So, when it comes down to that, right, you always want to put your best foot forward for your customers. You want the name of your shop to be synonymous with quality ironwork. So, if you don't feel like you could do that yet, then don't. You've got time, right? There's no rush, there's no rush in that. There's nothing that says you have to be selling your work or anything like that. Now, I know I went a bit past your original comment there, or your question, but trying to add additional context for folks who wonder, like, is my work actually any good to be able to sell, or could, is it worth even bringing to a show like Quad, or an art show or whatever? And that's the metric I would look at personally. Am I proud to stand behind my work, my accomplishments that I've accomplished? If you're proud of that, then bring it, by all means. It's a worthwhile endeavor to do, right? But if you're not proud, then don't bring it. Bring only the stuff that you're the most proud of.
Talen's Craft says, that grate looks amazing.
Thank you so much.
John Brunel says, my experience is most blacksmiths buying stuff at Quadstate are buying tools and supplies.
Yep.
He says, I never been, so I had to ask.
Yeah, nope, that's perfect thing to ask.
And he says, that sounds like the farmer's market near me. All the grocery stores send people to compete.
Yeah, you have to know your market space there. Nothing wrong if you wanted to bring your artwork to just share and show, right? Like, that's a good thing to do. You don't have to necessarily sell it, but bring it to share and show. And who knows, maybe some guy's wife that's there, or, and I'm only saying that from the concept because women do most of the buying when it comes to decor items in this country, like 98% of it. But, maybe some guy's wife will be there and be like, oh, wow, I really like that, handmade thing you made, and I want to add that to our foyer or something like that, right? And then, boom, you've got to sell. I'm not saying you can't make sales like that. It's just not really the place for it where you would be able to bank on it, like, let me make up a bunch of knives and try to sell them at Quadstate. Like, you're going to be surrounded by a whole bunch of people who make knives, for a living. So that's not really where you want to take and bring the thing. You want to bring it to somewhere where people don't make knives, and in fact, they're in need of a good knife, and they really like the style of your knife, and, and you can connect with them on that level. Sales at the end of the day is all about need and connection. So people need things or want things, and they connect to other people. They connect to your story. They connect to who you are and why is this item important. And so it's crucial for you to kind of work those things out and be very clear with your mission statement of what you're doing. For instance, we sell CNC plasma cut blanks for other blacksmiths, and our mission statement in doing so, the whole plan for us to have CNC cut blanks for people is to help other craftsmen sell at farmer markets and flea markets and art fairs and things like that, to be able to compete with the world out there of other goods that are like, plasma art and stuff like that, right? Plasma cut pieces and things. It's hard to compete with handmade, solidly, forged out of a raw bar, right? It's hard to compete with something that someone bought for $3, bought a blank for, and then added a little surface texture to it, and then sold it for $35. Well, your Ironworks is going to be $85 or $105 if you make it all from scratch. You chiseled it out with a hand chisel. Well, you're in the right. You'd be in the wrong market space for a lot of folks, because it's that way. So our mission statement is to take and help other smiths. It's what I do on YouTube. It's why I'm doing this. I don't have to share any knowledge I have about gilding. I don't have to share a dang thing. There's nobody got to tell me about any of this. I could just be like, nope, I'm never sharing a thing. But I share because I love the craft, and I want to see other smiths take and get inspired to do similar things and make their own versions of this. Make their own versions of something fancy, and maybe you'll get into gilding work and do those things. And so the blanks is just an extension of that for me. And so that's why we sell blanks. And it works well in a blacksmithing format, as long as the community, and by proxy the customers that want to support that sort of thing, understand your mission statement. They get connected with us. I provide a lot of free value on YouTube. And I mean, I've done so for a decade now, of free entertainment on YouTube, asking nothing in return, and now we have a community that supports us on a regular basis, and we are just so blessed to have that community, but it didn't happen overnight. I had to take and provide a lot of value up front for people to say, hey, you know what, that Roy guy, yeah, I guess he's all right. I'll throw a few bones his way. He's not too bad. You know, he could be worse, right? So, next question, Jess.
Yes, there is. Gissy says, so thankful that you all sell them. And Ken Foster says, at Quadstate, did they sell metal stock there, or more like hammer blanks and punched hammer blanks?
They don't. It just varies. It just depends on what some guy has on his back of his truck. You know, if there's a guy there clearing out a shop because he's kind of tired of stuff, there's sometimes people cut up blanks and, like, you know, big chunks of steel and stuff out of their scrap pile and try to sell them off piecemeal. Sometimes people have whole bars of steel or wrought iron sitting on the back of their truck bed, and you can get in on. It's just there's no actual metal supplier there that's showing up though.
Although that would be
large
smart.
stuff. That would be smart of a metal
Somebody
supplier,
did.
but
Yeah.
you know, to partake in Quadstate, but they haven't figured that one out yet, I guess.
No, not yet.
So,
Rodell should go down there with the supply.
yeah.
Ken Foster says, so far I haven't sold any of the blanks I bought or got from you with the exception of one trivet. I have given those away.
Have you been trying to sell them, or have you just been giving them away?
And Speargrass is just joining us.
Hey, Speargrass, good to have you.
GWI says you have done a great job with your blanks and your whole website. Thank you.
Thank you. We try.
Speargrass says, just got home from work.
Glad to have you here, Speargrass. Thanks for joining us. You could do literally anything else after work, but you decided to hop on our little stream here, so thank you. One thing I was telling Jess earlier telling Jess, I was even telling Thomas this week, you know, one of the things that I'm very thankful for, and it's something that it kind of goes along this whole thing of, you know, knowing your customers and, you know, doing, you know, pretty much just from the concept of service, right? And like putting out a lot of value and things out there for people, and then, you know, just thinking about our customers. It takes a lot of capital every month to run a CNC thing. A lot more than you think. And like, I look sometimes at the numbers and stuff of the numbers of you all out there that are supporting us on a regular basis, and I'm just absolutely just taken back by the fact of the overwhelming support and the love from the blacksmithing community we've received. And it's something that I'm always looking, I'm always trying to think of ways that I can return that love and support and them favors. Sometimes in small ways, sometimes in big ways, but I am just absolutely just taken back by that. It's an amazing thing, because I am a firm believer. Since I started doing blacksmithing full time for a living way back in the day, I've been at it for a long time now. But way back in the day when I did forging blacksmithing for a living full time, I always said that we had a faith-based income. And what I mean by that is, obviously, I'm a Christian. If you're watching Christ-centered Ironworks, you know, should be, that's a given, right? Like, that's a give me. It's probably something to expect, right? But I always said that I had a faith-based income, and the reason why it's a faith-based income is from the concept of, you know, I don't know what tomorrow will hold, and there's no guarantees. There's no guarantees that I'll be able to keep this whole show going. You know, there's no guarantees that God will take me home and I'll draw my last breath. You know what I mean? Like you know, in a week or two from now, or maybe tomorrow, or maybe tonight. You know, there's nothing. You know, there's nothing that's guaranteeing me a long life. There's nothing guaranteeing me an income. There's nothing that guarantees me any of your hard-earned income just because I put out some sort of product and I think it's pretty great. There's no guarantees. There's no guarantees in any of that. And I recognize that. And so when I look back across the fact that we've been doing this now, bang on almost 5 years now?
The
4?
blanks.
The CNC? 4 years?
I'm thinking.
Been
We
doing it for a
started
solid
November, 4. Is it November of 2020?
Yeah, I think we
so.
started it November 2020. So yeah, like 5 years, right?
Yeah,
We've been doing this
November,
for 5
yeah.
years,
Uh-huh.
and you know we added Thomas to the roster, right? You know, and like your guys' support not only supports my family, my kids, you know, them growing up, right? But you're supporting Thomas's family and his kids and them growing up and all those things, and that's like, and that's not any one person doing that. That is a lot of people saying, hey, we like Roy, Jess, and Thomas enough to take a little bit of money every month and you know, send it his way and buy a few blanks off of them or this and that. And it takes a lot of you guys to do that every month. And I guess that's all long-winded to just say thank you. Thank you so much. You are so appreciated. Each and every last one of you. Everyone who's watching this stream right now, you are appreciated. It means a lot. Means a lot to me. I don't care if it means anything else to anybody else, but it means a lot to me. So, thank you all so much.
Ken Foster says, been giving them away, not trying to sell them yet. Not sure if I'm good enough to sell them on some things. Sort of feel guilty to sell the blank. Sort of seems to not be a lot of work to take the blank and make it into a good hook.
Well, that's the whole point, is to make it simple so you can sell them. And that way you can make a profit, my friend. You got to make a profit.
Yep.
If you want to be in business. Or even to self-fund your hobby. Got to make a little profit. That way you can buy a little nicer tools and do things like that. And, you know, heck, give stuff away. Don't ever stop giving things away. So.
Robert Lana says, great thing to do that sells great is to lean into the 6-year anniversary theme. I can't keep them stocked at my Etsy store.
Yep. Anniversaries, that's a huge one.
Yep.
100% can confirm that. 100%. 110% can confirm that.
I already know the answer to this, but I want to see what you say, Robert. What season do you sell the most anniversary gifts? I'm not going to give my answer because I don't want to influence his answer. But pretty sure the data is going to match on that.
Yep.
Speargrass says, Roy, just tell Roy we're only here because he puts out. Haha, joking.
Fair enough. Fair enough. Said shut up. That was a statement of shut up and get back to work, monkey. Dance, monkey, dance.
Is that what that is?
Yeah. No, I think there's a disconnect, right? Sometimes because we all buy stuff from big faceless organizations, right? I almost guarantee everyone watching this buys from Amazon at some point or another. Right? Some sort of thing. I buy from Amazon all the time. And it's a big faceless organization. And you don't get thank yous. You don't get any appreciation trophies. You don't get a mug or a shirt with your name on it. There's nothing like that, right? You know? And so we suffer from a little bit of disconnect sometimes that, you know, when you're talking through the phone that you're talking to a human being on the other side of it, right? It's like it's just this big corporate enterprise, you know? So, like, you know, so I might say something nasty to them because, well, they don't care anyhow, you know, that kind of thing. But on our end, we appreciate you all so very much. It's not even funny. Like, it's like we appreciate the heck out of everybody. I mean, we really do.
Oh, yeah.
So, because it makes a huge difference.
Mm-hmm.
So I think it's important to take and bear that out. You know, if I'm not getting too gushy for everybody's liking, but I think it's important for people to know that. You're not just a number on a sales slip somewhere to us.
John Brunel says, I must really love you, bud, because I bought a bunch of blanks and haven't touched them.
You're the most loving, John. Most loving.
Got the most love in the world.
And I expect you to buy a lot more of those, too, when you come to Quad, okay? Lots of them. Acanthus leaves, especially.
Oh, yeah, we got all kinds of styles.
Yeah.
For your next so you can do a candelabra.
Yeah, yeah, for your next candelabra.
Or you got to do like some really fancy, like a coat stand.
Exactly.
You got to start like decking out like a mansion.
No, you know what he needs to do? He needs to make the twin of the other one. Now that there's been some time that has passed, he needs to make a twin of the other candelabra.
The twinsies.
Start from scratch, make it again. Make it better. Even more gold leaf this time.
More. Can't go wrong with gold leaf.
I want to see your best. So it has been said. So let it be done.
Ken Imposter says, Yuppers buy from the big stores. But I have an issue or a return. It's not so much fun to reach a person. Speargrass says, I prefer...
Ivan needs something, I think.
Okay.
What do you want? Oh. Anyways. Yeah, when you can buy from a smaller enterprise, it's great. But we can't always do that. I'll go on a smaller rant here, mini rant. So where we live is pretty far north. It's pretty rural, contrary to the amount of traffic you're hearing going by the house right now. But we live in a fairly rural area. So for most of the year, for about 8 months, there's only 467 residents in our area, and that's including us, my family of 5. So right in our immediate area. And so, like, with that being said, I have found that a lot of like the local hardwares and things like that, like I want to support them, but they never have anything like that I need. Never. Like, I'll go to a local hardware first. We live between 2 small towns. Part of the reason why you hear some traffic there. People going back and forth between those 2 small towns. But, so I'm like, oh, this will be, it's like, oh, I'll go down to the store, see if they got it. So I try to shop local, right? I said, okay, I'm going to shop local, right? For sure. Let's shop local. And what do? I go shop local. What do they have? Nothing. They have one of the 10 things I need, right? And then I go look online, and then they say, well, we can order it. And then I'm like, okay, I could order it too. And then I go and look online, and I can get it for 1/3 the cost of shopping locally. And so I'm like, well, I would have paid 1/3 higher cost just to support your business had you actually had the thing that I need and or want. But they don't. So it's like a real problem. I don't know if anybody else has suffered that out there, but it's a real problem up here. It's like, I'm trying to shop local. I'm trying to support the little guy and not go to the big box store. But you all are not making it easy when you have 0 things on the shelf. And you say, well, I can order it. Yeah, where? Amazon?
Let me guess.
Let me guess. You're going to go on Amazon here right after I walk away from your countertop and go get it there.
Same place I could have got it.
In fact, I actually have a fun story about that. I went to a auto parts store looking for car parts for the Jeep one point in time. And the guy kind of had his screen kind of tilted away from me, you know. He's like, well, I could order it. It's going to be here probably next week, you know, blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, well, let me think, you know, on it, this, that. We'll also look up for this stuff. And I happened to just peer over enough to see his end of the screen. And he was literally on eBay Motors ordering the part.
Yeah.
From eBay Motors, this is a supply house. A car part supply house. And he was ordering it. I was like, you know what, bud? I'll just do the same.
Yep.
How about I just order it and just have it come straight to my house? You know, and I don't have to drive back here 20 minutes, you know, to this establishment.
Yep. Ken Foster
Little
says,
rant, sorry.
I wonder if there could be a cutout for a scorpion bottle opener blank, opener between the claws. That'd be a lot of fine detail. That might be a little tough to do with a plasma cutter.
Well, you can make it like a blanker one. Yeah, you can do it. Scorpion blanket. Get with us. We'll see.
John Brunel says, I'm never making another candelabra, LOL. Never.
Never.
Where's the current one at, by the way? Is it in your house, or did you?
That's sour milk.
Oh, I shouldn't say.
Yeah.
Okay, never mind. Don't feel obligated to answer.
Sour milk, beautiful.
Jeff Killian made it back. Had to water the grass seed. Roger Caldwell's back, too.
Glad to have you, Roger. And you said who else?
Roger Caldwell and Jeff Killian.
Jeff Killian made it back. Well, as you can see, it has progressed. I'm not going to finish the whole thing tonight's stream.
Oh, okay. No, you're
Just-
getting through the
What?
second bailister there.
Like, I'm getting there.
You are.
but-
You are.
I felt like maybe doing the whole thing, but
Yeah.
to make it a little extra long stream. But
A little extra.
that way they can kind of get a whole idea of where it's going. But we might just finish it at this baluster here, maybe. Questions, Jess? Any questions, comments, or anything else?
Let's see. There's only one more. Northeast Texas, I have seen that. My dad, who has mobility issues, has a lot of customer service complaints. He would order and they would want him to go back to the store or send him around rather than go for him.
Yeah. Well, that can happen too. So,
Roger Caldwell says it's looking good.
well, thank you, Roger. I appreciate it.
And Robert Lana says that does go both ways. Christ-centered is the #1 resource for the beginner. Blacksmith, hands down.
Well, thank you. Thank you, thank you. I do my best.
Wayne says, thank you, Roy and Jess. I have to run. May God richly bless you.
Thank you, Wayne. Take care. Thanks for stopping by. Thanks for watching.
Thanks for joining. Robert Lanis says fall. It's almost here. Color change is already
fall.
starting up here.
Yep.
Yep.
I'm going to look forward to the color change quite significantly, so. In full bloom up here.
Mm-hmm.
Should be just getting there by the time we get back.
That's what we're
Should
thinking.
be peak colors
Yep.
up here. So, it's going to
Yeah.
be great time to get some camera work done.
Mm-hmm. She'll be a little earlier than usual for
Yep.
so versus last year. It was like normally it's around second to third week in October.
Yeah, we'll have to take a vacation from our vacation.
Yeah. Vacation from the vacation.
Get home and we'll be off again.
Uh-huh. Well,
Camping somewhere.
everything will be loaded, so.
We just don't have to offload it. We'll just go camping somewhere.
Uh-huh.
Do that right before the holiday rush. There we go. Get
Any plans to sell top tooling?
Top tooling. No, I don't really forge tooling for anybody, so. I kind of got, so I'm not a real big tool guy, a tool maker. It's never held a lot of interest for me. I make tools that are functional to just get the job done. That's been kind of my primary focus. Kind of full, but like tools are a mechanism by which I can get back to making the cool stuff I want to make. And that's kind of always been what it's been in my shop. You know, every now and then I'll go down a tooling rabbit hole, you know, like I'll go down a tooling rabbit hole. But in order to take and sell tools, like, you know, in order to sell tools to other smiths, you got to have some pretty large equipment to make it efficient. Otherwise, you know, like I've tried many a times, many a ways to make like hand hammers. You know, I want to make a hand hammer, you know, and I'll do a production run of like just 10 hand hammers. And after like the first one's taken me like 6.5 hours to make, I'm like, no, I'm not making hand hammers, you know. And the reason for that being is just doing it one by hand with not big enough power forging equipment to do it. Not really being set up to make that the most efficient process in the world. That doesn't help anything, you know. So when it comes down to that, I've never really wanted to do tooling. It's kind of like tongs, you know. It's like you can only make it so efficient hand forging it. And I make a fairly nice pair of tongs, but I can't outbeat someone that's selling a nicely forged pair of tongs, like Tom Tongs, you know, that are like $20. Well, I'm not I'm not making someone a pair of tongs for $20. You know, I can't even come up close to that quality for $20. And so that's always been a bit of a holdback for me for making tooling, like, you know, hand tools or punches or chisels or things like that. There's always a lot of money, a lot of effort, a lot of work into it, and then yeah, you're trying to compete with people who have big machinery for doing that exact thing, and you just can't really. You can't really. All my tooling I've ever made has always been bespoke tooling, so very ornate and very costly. So because of it being bespoke, so the emphasis wasn't on, you know, it didn't matter basically. It didn't matter if it took me, you know, 6 months or a year to make the thing, because I was charging accordingly, or, you know, it was a bunch of money.
Ken Foster says, any update on finding a supplier for the die blanks in 4140 or so?
So yeah, since I've done, good question. Since I have made the Switch with all the new guillotines, whoa, we're in the dark now.
Yeah.
You got another battery on there?
Trade, I got
a battery on the other one there. No. Since we've made the change, while I sit here in the dark, since we've made the switch over on all of the tools to all except the same size die stock, I have found I can get it from Alro. There we go. Now we're back. Hopefully we're in good shape.
Yep, we're good.
Yeah, I can get it from Alro. The only thing that I'm going to have to do is I'm going to have to get a trial bar next time from them, because I can't get a guarantee. This has been the problem. I can't get a guarantee on the size. So let's say if you have hot rolled mild, it has a certain tolerance to it. But cold rolled has a certain tolerance to it. And then those tolerances vary quite a bit as soon as you go to high carbon materials. And I have not been able to get a solid, like, yeah, you'll get exactly this kind of product each and every time from us. So I need to buy a couple sample bars and work through that process. So I haven't went down that. I've had other things going on, so I haven't went down that route again as of yet. Reason for that being is, in order for me to make it reasonable, I have to put it on one of my every month to 2 month loads of buying steel at Alro, so I get tonnage bought in, and then I get the cost break. I get the price break on it. So, yeah. So long story short, yes, I will plan on getting onto that maybe later this year. Hopefully, maybe before Christmas, I can get some die stock in. One of the other holdups on that is because it's so costly. One of the other holdups on that was this summer. So summers for this, for our end, doing the CNC plasma cut blanks, are very skinny around here. Not a lot of money flowing. Not a lot of money flowing. So we have to tighten our belts quite hard come summer, just to be able to pay our bills. So, and just to even break even during the summer months when it comes to the CNC work. Why? You guys out there, you're not in your forge sweating it out to the oldies, right? Like, yep. That's why it takes, so you're not thinking about buying blanks when it's 107 degrees out in the forge, before you even lit the fire. You're like, nah, enough of that hot mess. And we really don't blame you. It's just, it's just the way it is. So yeah, so it kind of just hit at a awkward time. We were heading into summer, and the load didn't work out. The initial load didn't work out for it. So hopefully this fall we can reinvest into that and get that done.
They said we can see you in autumn colors and mood lighting.
Yeah, moody. The mood lights.
Roger Caldwell says, we're not getting much color down here. Leaves are falling, just falling. Been too dry this summer. Lovely. 2/3.
Yep, 2/3. Can people see it?
Mm-hmm. Oh, yeah.
Can they see the vision of where this is going?
Mm-hmm. It's quite stunning. It will be stunning with the gold on it.
Now imagine once it has the gold.
Mm-hmm. Be super shiny. It'll be really interesting to see how much of a difference it makes to the color of the gold too, because now it's got a similar color underneath it versus being on top of black.
Yep. See if it brightens the gold a bit, maybe.
Yeah, I think it will.
Yep. Yeah, it's funny when I've shown off some of my gold, some of my gilding before. People are like, "Wow, that's some really nice gold paint. Where'd you get that from?" I'm like,
"It's real.
That's not gold paint."
The real deal.
Well, this is what gold paint will look like, by the way, but maybe with a bit of metal flake in it. This would be the color that you would expect gold paint to look like.
Yep.
There's a deep hue that's in the regular gold that it's unmistakable. When you see gold paint and you actually see gold leaf, there's no gold paint out there that looks like gold leaf.
Yeah.
Real gold. There's nothing. It has a luster to it. Now when you pick it, like when you hold it, you're like, wow, that's got some money in it. That's some value. There's like, I feel this thing being like it's a lot of money. Versus, gold paint just looks like paint. It can never reflect the same way or do things the same way. So, but yeah, that's come out good.
Yeah,
I think that's going to become good. I'm happy with the decision to gold leaf it.
Mm-hmm.
I think it'll make it quite stunning and stellar. So when it comes out,
oh yeah,
so it's looking nice.
It does, baby.
Yeah,
doing a real good job on it.
Not too hateful.
Yeah.
And on the back, doesn't look like I got too much overrun, which is nice. So I won't have too much to darken out or other stuff. On the back of the piece, we're going to leave it black. It's going to stay black. Again, this is a grill. This would be like a window grill or a grate that would be going between a space. It has a front showing side and then it has a non-show side. And historically, they wouldn't have put gold on a side that was going to face a wall because it's too expensive
yeah, right.
to do that. It's too expensive a material. So looking at this is probably going to take every bit 2 packets, about 50 sheets of gold. So that's about $200 to gild this.
Buy in some more.
So yeah, it'll take about $200, right around there, $200 to gild it. So it's worth it though. Probably also why gilding has fell out of style.
Yeah.
Because it's expensive.
Roger Caldwell says that'll look awesome.
Really makes it pop.
Ken Foster says I do like the modern Masters paint, just pricey, but yeah, real gold looks different.
Yeah. I've never tried modern Masters paint. I'd have to try it out, but yeah, the real gold, it's a metal that's being applied to the surface. It's not. It doesn't absorb light the same way, and if you burnish it real nice, it polishes it up, and it has a glint and a. You just can't fake it, really. You can get close, like from a distance. You're like, oh wow, that's golden scrolls over there, like with paint, right? Imitation, even the imitation gold. You can tell it's not gold. Like, perfect example. This little candlestick here is exactly, this is brass. This is exactly what imitation gold would look like on this. Compare that and contrast that to this. And maybe the camera can't pull up the color good enough.
It looks pretty close on camera, yeah.
It looks pretty close on camera. So, but I can tell you right now, there's a difference. This has got like a deep yellow, and this is just, again, you can tell it's brass. And so the imitation gold, since it's brass, it'll look more like this object and less like this object. So, yeah. And it's the part that I'm just, like, so thrilled with. That's the part that I love the most about, is just, that's going to look really good. I think the golden, I think having the yellow paint, the gilder's paint underneath for the primer, the gilding primer, I think having that underneath, and then, you know, the gold on top, I think it's really going to make the gold the star of the show. So, it's going to look really good. Another option for people who don't want to take and do gilding, here's a way you could do this. This is, we'll call this the poor man's gilding, if you will. This is one way you can take and add a bit of color to a piece and really get it to pop. So I had Thomas on his grill. I had him make, oh, really came out good. I'll set this off the side here. Can they see me okay, Jess?
Oh yeah, I can see you great.
Can they see this all right?
Yep, sure can.
Okay. So I had Thomas. So this is Thomas's grill he's bringing to Quadstate. I designed it. I drew it. And then I said, go make this. And on his own time and at his own shop. And so Thomas worked very diligently at making this. And I'm very proud of Thomas. He did a really good job putting all this together and making this. But this is how it's going to display at Quadstate. It's a very cool piece, I think so. But what you can see here that Thomas did on his is he's blackened out the frame. And what he did first was on his acanthus sleeves. Can they see those acanthus sleeves okay?
Yep.
They're silvery?
Yep. Yep.
So what he did on his acanthus sleeves is he actually wire wheeled them really heavily to get them super shiny. And then he masked them off. He put a masking tape on them. And then he spray painted black everything else. And then he came in and peeled the masking tape off and then clear coated everything. So this way he had these shiny acanthus leaves that are in there. So I like to call that a poor man's gilding, so to speak. Because you could very easily do that same effect where you wire wheel these leaves really brightly. You bring them out real brightly. And you could have put temper colors in them. Or you could have heated them up and rubbed some brass on them and get a lot of brass, right? Like get that really bronze in, that brass look, that shiny brass look all over the leaf. And then you could have clear coated it, protected it with a bit of tape, you know, painter's tape, or mask it off, paint the rest of the frame black, and then you would have had a look of a poor man's gold leafing. So you don't have to necessarily go out and get the gilding size and some of this other stuff, and you can still add that pop to it just by changing up your process of how you put the thing together. So that's one way of really making your ironwork stand out and pop and actually, you know, look really, really good. and have a real professional look. So one thing that I like to caution people against, and I know we're coming to the end here, and we're going to end the stream here in just a minute, but one thing I like to caution people against is you got to get out of the rut of just everything flat black. Ironwork is meant to be adored. It's to adorn stuff, almost like a jewel. You need to show off the work. There are times where you want the work to just hide itself, right? If you got a really bad weld or a really bad hammer blow somewhere, yeah, you don't want that to be front and center and polished, right? Like, you don't want to show that off. But in general, ironwork, so much of ironwork gets bypassed out in our day-to-day lives because it's black, it's gray, it's plain, it's blah, it's blah. It just flows right into the background and you never think twice about it. I almost guarantee you there would be a much higher appreciation for ironwork if there was a lot more gilding going on and there was a lot more highlighting of ironwork, like in this particular example, where you highlight the acanthus leaves and things like that on it. So, but anyways, I'll leave you with that little bit of thought and encouragement and stuff like that. I'm really looking forward to seeing everybody at Quadstate, anybody who's coming to Quad. For those of you that can't be there, I appreciate you. Jessica does have a coupon code. She has a discount code if you want to show that off again. For those who won't be able to make it and be able to take part of the sales and stuff that we'll be doing there at Quad, we got you covered with a 15% off there. So be sure, be sure to use that if you are in fact in need of blanks, blanks or tooling or any of the tailgate items that we would have brought anyhow. So make sure you make use of that. As well. So, but yeah, this has been a fun stream. Been a fun stream for me anyhow. It's got me put a little bit closer to working on this. Yeah. And it being done. I still don't know if I'll be able to have this done in time to bring to Quad. If I can't, I'll probably bring the door knocker instead. I'll bring the door knocker to Quad since it's already finished. That makes it a lot easier. Oh, any other questions or comments, Jess, before we go?
Sure. Ken Foster says, until I got into blacksmithing, I almost never looked at the design. It was always, how strong is it?
Yep.
Robert Lana says, set nice, thumbs up.
Awesome.
John Brunel, does the 23K gold stretch more than the imitation? Like the imitation sticks in two high spots and then rips a lot when it pushes into a valley, or does it do the same thing?
So real gold blends. So best way I can explain it, you experience this. Imitation gold, you've got brass that's connected to a plastic of some kind. Okay, it's almost like a plasticky substance. I don't know what it is, but it's whatever membrane they adhere the brass powder to, if you will. Okay, and when you stick that on the surface, you bring that sheet out, you pop it on the surface. If it's on any uneven surface, it tears and rips. But when it tears and rips and reveals that surface underneath, you go back, you try to add a little sticky to it, you try to put a little more gilding size on it, and throw another layer on. Well, when you throw that next layer on, it doesn't bind to that bottom layer. It just binds to the glue that you put on the surface, right? And so then you look like you have another piece sitting on top, and it didn't actually blend in. The gold leaf itself, if that piece lands on it and it breaks away from itself, all you got to do is put another piece on top and just rub it, burnish it in, and it will stick to itself. So you could take two gold leaves and smack them together, give them a little rub, and they are together. They are stuck together. So gold is miraculous. It wants to be a one homogenized piece. So especially on the scale that we're talking about. So that gold will stick to itself. So you don't have to end up putting the gild on them. So yes, if it falls on too high spots, it will break and reveal a little bit underneath. But you should be able to take a little flake of gold and drop it on that area, and again, rub it, burnish it down with a little smooth item like the end of this screwdriver or one of those agate burnishers, and it will actually I don't know if it welds into itself or what it does, but it just sticks right to itself. Easy peasy. And it's gone. When I did this piece, there was so many areas and little bits and bobs that tore and didn't take right, and I had to add like little pieces of gold to it, and I mean like little flakes. I was picking up like little paint chip size flakes off the floor, you know, something like this thing right there, just little paint chips, and I was sticking to it. I was picking up that little gold flake, putting it on there and burnishing it in, and it would weld and blend right in. So a lot of these where they look perfectly smooth, you can't even tell the weld line where it went on. My guess is it welded into itself because you can't see any lines where I patched it. It just blended right in. So that's the difference between the two. It's really a beautiful thing. It's worth getting the real gold, in my opinion. It's worth getting the real gold. Now, on your candelabra, that would have been like freaking $2,000 or something. Like, it would have been a lot of money to gild that whole thing. You know, it could be a good amount of money. So maybe start small and try it first on something. Yeah.
Robert Lannis says, I was saying that fall is the best season for anniversary sales, Jess. Interesting. From our experience, we're doing a lot of copper stuff for 7-year anniversaries, and it seemed that summer was always the biggest. It seemed like we had the most sales of that in summertime, and which my assumption was a lot of people got married in the summer because that's kind of like vacation season, and you know, kids are out of school and stuff like that. So at least on our end, it seemed like summer was, you know, a large majority of people. Roger Caldwell, are you going to do silver on the collars?
Yep, there's going to be silver on the collars. Or so I think. I may end up leaving them black. I am kind of digging the black look.
Yeah?
I'm kind of digging it.
I mean, you do have your door knocker you could look at, so you know what it looks like when you put silver on it.
Yeah, I do know what it looks like. I mean, it is like top notch to have the silver. I will probably do silver on the collars, yeah.
Yeah.
Just because I can't leave well enough alone.
Ken Foster, would that be in front of a stained glass window?
Yep.
Outside facing?
Yep. Perfect example. It'd be in front of a stained glass window or an amber glass window, you know, or something like that, a single pane window that's maybe cloudy in nature, you know. Maybe not any sort of design like a stained glass, you know, or something might have, but yep, something like that.
Let's see. Granddad says we clear coated after gilding.
Yep. After it gets gilded, it'll end up getting clear coated on top of the gilding work. So, yep. So first things first, so once all the primering's been done, then the gilding size goes on, then the gilding happens, then any touch-up work that needs to be done gets done, and then finally, the final coat will be a clear coat over the top to seal the whole thing in for the test of time. So, and then this piece of ironwork, being that it won't be an outdoor piece, this one's going to just be living in our living room on a wall. It should last for long after I'm dead and gone. It'll be a museum quality piece, hopefully.
It will. I mean, it should stay indoors, so.
Until somebody like uses it for a barbecue or something to grill steaks with or something.
Oh my. Be a strange steak.
Or chuck it to the scrapyard.
Ken Foster says 9 months after Valentine's Day is hunting season. Just saying. You mean the men go off to play while the women? No. The right word, but
trauma's correct word.
Trauma? The trauma. Okay, then we'll go with trauma. Roger Caldwell says, great stream tonight, Roy. Stay safe. God bless y'all. We'll see you at Quadstate.
Thank you, Roger. Look forward to seeing you at Quadstate.
Robert Lannis says, great job, Thomas.
Yep, you did a great job. Is Thomas still in?
I don't think I've seen him chat in a little while. I know I don't see his name in the recents.
Okay, he's probably in his forge or something.
Yeah.
Who knows? Oh. Well, cool. So, all right. Well, that being said, we're gonna go grab some dinner. Well,
yes.
we're in our living room, so we're gonna grab some dinner here in a moment once we make it. But yeah, give them that once
Give
more.
one close up. See the glamour, the glamorousness.
Or it will be soon.
Looks like you did a very, very detail-oriented job to it.
That was the goal.
Yeah. Prevent excessive cleanup that you didn't have to.
Yep. So, cool story.
Cool story.
All right.
That's the story, and
All
you're
right.
sticking to
That's
it.
the story, and we're sticking to it. So, all right, everyone. Well, thank you all for joining us in the stream. We will see you next time. In the next stream, it'll be October. That's crazy to think we're already like full on
Getting
in
into the
October.
last quarter.
Christmas is coming.
That's
It's going to be
right.
great, you know.
Let's hear your ho ho ho.
Ho ho ho.
There we go.
Yeah, it's gonna work
Gotta start
out
warming up.
got to start warming up those vocal cords. So, but anyways, God bless each and every last one of you out there. Thank you so much for joining us in this little stream. Hopefully you guys learned something. Hopefully you enjoyed something about it, and we will catch you all on the next one. Bye, everyone.